You're watching SLU-TV. Now, Stephanie Wilga, Sharee Brown, John Castelli, lead forecaster Mary Bester, and sports director Edward Burch. This is SLU News 22.
Good evening, St. Louis University. I'm Stephanie Wilga, and you're watching SLU News 22. In tonight's newscast, we'll tell you about the comedy competition that was here on Monday. We'll give you an update on Billiken sports, and John Castelli will be here with a health report. But first, our top story. The Rooftop comedy tour made a stop here at SLU. Maggie Sevchek has more on that story.
Last Monday, the Student Activity Board brought a nationwide comedy competition to SLU to give students the chance to showcase their talent on stage. The Rooftop Comedy Competition held auditions in the Billiken Club, and the event was free and open to the public. The club was packed with people who came to cheer on their fellow students and to see if any of them had any real comedic talent.
I'm a comedic guy. I've never done this before. This is actually my first stand-up. I mean, I've been in performances before in acting, but not stand-up. This is unique.
It's a dream of mine. I've always dreamed of going stand-up comedian. So it's the first time I do it. I'm happy to do it.
The show began with a celebrity type from the comedy world, Andy Smith, who is from St. Louis but has performed on Comedy Central and The Last Comic Standing.
Are you guys in a decent mood for your comedy show this evening? That's pathetic. Better than me.
After she warmed up the audience, SLU students took the stage.
If you hear the Billiken Club, you know, or should I say Billikants, as in can't win a basketball game. Hey yo!
Anyway, so I'm going to the Xavier game, and I love the process of getting on those free buses. Like that's always the best. I mean, we all like head out of Salsaritas, we're all heading out behind the BSC, like, and we all pile on like a bunch of refugees. Like, oh, is this going to Scott Strait? Is this Scott Strait? Hey guys, it's Scott Strait. Sorry, you know, like run over.
You know who I don't love? The girls who aren't impressed by the fact that I know everything about them via Facebook before I actually meet them. Hey, baby, where are you going? You know, my life isn't measured by the number of breaths I take either.
I'm an English major. I used to be pre-med. And, yeah, that's funny.
Tonight's winner will go on to compete at the Funny Bone Comedy Club right here in St. Louis, where they will compete against other students from the zoo. If you didn't perform at the event, you can still submit videos to their website where you could win a trip for two to Aspen, Colorado. This is Maggie Sevchek for SLU News 22.
At the February 27th SGA meeting, SGA President Andrew Clifton and Dean of Students Scott Smith presented a proposal to amend the current student leader stipend. As it currently stands, certain student leaders are eligible for stipends based on an equation that assigns different stipend amounts to the selected students. Because of the growing number of student leaders in the past few years, the amounts have been shrinking. Under the new proposition, the term stipend would be changed to honoraria, and 23 student leaders would be chosen each year to receive the honoraria. The amount of the honorarium would vary from student to student. The amount awarded will be based on these factors: how much of an impression the applicant's organization is liable to have on campus, how much of an impact each student could have on his or her organization, and how much the organization complies with and builds on the Jesuit mission. If approved, $95,600 would be split between the 23 students to cover tuition and book costs. The goal of the proposal is to be more inclusive of which student leaders have access to the stipends. The close race for the Democratic presidential nomination saw some action on Tuesday. The primaries for both parties were held in Ohio, Texas, Rhode Island, and Vermont. And Hillary Clinton needed to win both Texas and Ohio to keep her campaign alive. How did she fare? Very well indeed. Clinton won both Texas and Ohio, the necessary states to keep her campaign alive, and also took home Rhode Island. Obama won Vermont. Also, Republican hopeful John McCain finally clinched the necessary 1,191 delegates to obtain the Republican nomination, and with that, garnered President Bush's official support. Well, lead forecaster Mary Fester is here with us now. Mary, the St. Louis weather sure makes your job interesting. What have you got for us on tap this weekend?
Yes, it does. Well, keep your winter clothes out because tomorrow is going to be cold, but we will see a warm-up this weekend, thankfully. So it'll feel like spring for at least a little while before our next system moves in from the west. But taking a look at current conditions out at Lambert Field, it's 35 degrees and overcast. Our humidity is at 54%, and the winds are calm. Our pressure is at 30.18 inches, and it is falling. Looking at our surface analysis, you will see that there is a low pressure system sitting over Louisiana right now, and there's a cold front draped across Texas and the Gulf with that. They had severe weather there today and even some tornado watches, and a warm front across Florida which gave them some showers and thunderstorms. But as far as precipitation goes for St. Louis, we didn't have any today, but we might see a little bit tomorrow. As you'll see here on the weather story for the National Weather Service, most of the precipitation will be in the form of snow, and it will be to our south and east. Thankfully, I'm tired of the snow. I don't know about you, and we will see a high of about 37 tomorrow. Looking at our low temperatures for tonight, you'll see this 30-degree line that goes right across St. Louis will be a little bit below that, and as we'll have a little bit of a cold front shortwave that passes through overnight, and that will drop temperatures pretty significantly. Here's your 3-day forecast. Again, chance of snow tomorrow, but it shouldn't accumulate much. Maybe in the southeastern counties of St. Louis, maybe we'll see a dusting to an inch, but nothing for the metro area, thankfully. And we'll have a high of 31 and a low of 16. Saturday, it'll warm up just a little bit, not much though. Barely hits freezing, partly cloudy skies, high of 32 and a low of 20. And then Sunday, we'll finally start to see a little bit of a turnaround, a high of 42 and a low of 32. And now back to Stephanie at the desk.
Thanks, Mary. We'll see you later on in the newscast. When we come back from the break, John Castelli will be here to give you the latest in the health. Well, John Castelli joins us now to give us the latest in the health news. So, John, what's going on in the health world?
Well, Stephanie, tonight's health report is all about a trend that's occurring in young adults. They have the potential to ease suffering, but they also can be addictive. Prescriptions for easily abused drugs are on the rise in the U.S., and 18 to 24-year-olds are most at risk. A survey of over 3,500 college students conducted by the University of Michigan reveals about 20% took opioids, stimulants, sleeping aids, or anxiety drugs without a prescription. These student surveys also indicate a greater potential for drug abuse than those who had prescriptions. 15.8% of students took these drugs with a prescription, as well as without a prescription for some time. But even this group screens as having a higher potential for drug abuse. The good news is this potential remains the same for patients who took the drugs with a prescription or did not take them at all. Stephanie?
Well, thank you for that, John. Facebook announced on Tuesday that it hired Google veteran Sheryl Sandberg as their operations chief. Sandberg, who joined Google in 2001, served as the vice president for global online sales of the company's ad products. For Facebook, Sandberg will help build its operation globally by managing sales, marketing, and business development. Sandberg starts at Facebook on March 24th. When we come back from the break, lead forecaster Mary Fester will be back with us to give us more on this weekend's weather. Stick around.